My family's all good. Everything for this past week with us has been nice and boring, just the way I like it. So let's talk about some things that have come up in the news. First thing I want to talk about is Anjanette Young, which I think is a story in Chicago that's going to have ramifications for quite some time. So let me give a recap in case you're not in Chicago or not sure what's going on. Anjanette Young came home, uh, got completely undressed to change into her pajamas, and her house was raided by the police. They forced her to stand in handcuffs naked. Um, at first, at first she was completely naked while these 12 white men all walked around her. Then finally, one of them threw a blanket over her shoulders, but of course she's handcuffed, so she can't hold the blanket so that it actually covers her. So it's just kind of draped over her shoulders. And then finally, one of them walks over after, about 10, 15 minutes of this nonsense, walks over and actually holds the blanket closed so that she's not just standing there naked. And after 20, 25 minutes of this, they finally accept that they found the wrong house, and they take the handcuffs off and allow her to clothe herself. There's body cam footage showing a large portion of this entire exchange. There's also body cam footage of a police officer going back down to the squad car and basically saying that somebody at headquarters screwed this up and that they were sent to the wrong address. The problem is, really, to be honest with you, they weren't sent to the wrong address because the person who they were looking for had an ankle monitor. So they didn't need to go to an address. They didn't need to do a raid. They knew exactly where this fool was. And just even a small amount of research would have revealed this. Now, this incident occurred in early 2019. This lady has been fighting since then.
I thought it was 2018.
No, I believe it's 2019.
They said it was 2 years.
Well, 2019 would be 2 years shortly. It's like February 2019.
Okay.
So yeah, by February it's going to be 2 years.
Long ass time.
Right, exactly. Long time, right? And all this time she's been fighting to get access to her body cam footage, right? Because she wants the story out. She doesn't care that she's standing there naked. She's like, I want everybody to see this, and I want an explanation. I don't give a damn. And so she got access to this footage finally, and she gave it to a news station so that they could release it and there could be a full wide discussion about it. Now, supposedly, not only has Lightfoot's office, because understand that Lightfoot came into, supposedly this occurred in February 2019. Lightfoot came into office April 2019. So even though the actual incident occurred before she came into office, the administration that has been fighting this and it is basically giving this lady hell is hers, essentially. So all this time they have been fighting against her request to have the footage. They attempted to file an injunction against the TV station that wanted to air the footage, and then they attempted to sanction Anjanette Young to basically punish her for providing the footage to the TV station. Now, I say let me back up and say all that's alleged, all right? And I say it's alleged based upon Lightfoot's comments today, which we'll get into in a second. But before we get to what Lightfoot said, I want to make it clear that if this is all true and it all lines up, right? And this is what is being reported not only by that TV station, but also by the Chicago Sun-Times and some other major publications in Chicago. This is basically line for line exactly what Rahm Emanuel did with Laquan McDonald. All right. Well, something horrific happens to a black individual, And this person in power who's supposed to be defending the citizens and standing up for the people of Chicago instead does everything in their power to protect the police to the detriment of everybody else. And the whole reason why the Black community was willing to line up behind Lightfoot and make her the first Black woman who has been mayor of our city is because she's supposed to be different. She's supposed to be the first person in Chicago's history in that seat who was really going to stand up for the Black community, institute some reforms, and bring about change. And right now, it seems like she's copying the playbook of what many Black people will say is the worst mayor Chicago has ever had. Now, stood up at the podium and talked about this today. She said she had no knowledge whatsoever that this incident occurred or that her office was fighting it. All right. She said she found out about this at the same time as everybody else when it came up on the news. The reporter asked her, how is it that you have monthly meetings with the police specifically about requests from the general public regarding body cam footage and potential police abuses? How is it that this situation did not come up, especially considering that a major news television station had access to the footage and had made it clear they were going to broadcast it and had a specific request from your office to stop that? To actually, it wasn't even a request. They tried to force them not to air the footage, right? Lightfoot said, I don't attend these meetings in person and that the information didn't get to me.
If that's the case, everyone that has something to do, your police chief, your lawyers, all these people need to be fired and you need to resign. So, if that's the case.
So Lightfoot, when she came up there, she said, some of you might hear that my voice is hoarse. My voice is hoarse because I've been, basically, she was like, I've been cussing out everybody that's involved in this situation before I got here and making it clear to them that this situation is unacceptable.
But they all still got their jobs.
She was specifically asked, considering the nature of this situation, do you believe that anybody in City Hall is going to face punishment for this? Her response was basically no. What she said was, so first of all, let me back up a little bit and say that she still presented herself as a reformer and said that, hey, we identified that there were issues with the way warrants were being created and these raids were being done back in 2019. And that's why we asked for a full review and we put different laws in place to ensure that things like this did not happen, right? And basically what happened is these reforms were ignored and the same thing happened again. Lightfoot's response was, well, we've got to just make it clear to people that things like this are unacceptable. But then if they do it again, we'll have to have real ramifications.
Shame on you. Shame on them. And you'll have to learn your lesson so we know better next time. All you motherfuckers need to be fired. I don't know who can fire mayor and shit, but her ass need to be fired for coming up and saying that shit. If that's the case, that's fucking ridiculous.
It's wild, bro.
I'm just thinking about the scene because I saw the story. I read a little bit about it. Basically, this woman is a social worker. And I look at this from a standpoint of just a single mother, a single person. She's single. She was single. She lives in her home by herself. You come home from working what a social worker does. I don't know how social workers work, but I hear that they have stacks on stacks of stuff that they deal with on a regular basis. They work hard for shit pay. You come home, you come to your crib, tired as hell from a day of working all this shit, trying to get yourself together, get to the crib, first thing you want to do is take your shoes and your shit off. I know that's how I am when I bring my ass home from work. Mm-hmm. I drop all my shit, my drawers, everything. Let me get in these pajamas real quick, fix me something to eat, sit my ass down in front of my TV and mind my business for the next couple hours before I got to go do it again. and then you see the footage of how they basically, it's almost like the no knock warrants and shit. It's like police bang. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, why they even bother identifying themselves and shit is funny as hell to me in these damn things. They knock on the door, then right after the knocking shit is police and the damn battering ram knocking your door in. And what's tripped out is it took them some time to get this woman's door down. They didn't just bash it on in. They was going at this door for a while. And you sitting in your house naked and you don't know what the hell going on. Hell, I'm pretty well, and not to go back on the other shit, it's a good damn thing she ain't have a gun. Because if I heard motherfuckers knocking in my damn door, I would have been opening fire like a motherfucker.
Come on,
of course, she would have been dead, of course.
And it would have been her fault.
Defending herself, and it would have been her fault.
Come on now.
But and then once these motherfuckers actually do bash in your damn door, you sitting there butt naked and shit in your house while all these people run in searching through your shit, saying all this stupid shit, just steady asking you questions. Why are you sitting there naked? And you're a female, you're a black female in the house, and I didn't see a black cop in there. I saw white dudes.
Nope.
I saw white cops the whole time.
All
now,
12
it ain't to
of
say
them.
that it wasn't no black cops there, but in the video I saw, I ain't see one.
No. It's verified by news sources. It's 12 white men, the whole squad.
I can't imagine what this woman went through. That's crazy to me. That makes no sense. And then how much verification do you need? How long do you need to talk to this woman for 20, 25 minutes while she's standing there with no clothes on to realize you done fucked up?
Even if you needed the 25 minutes to verify that you fucked up, why does she have to be naked? Why is that necessary for you to be able to conduct this investigation? It's just not. And what's been repeated over and over again is, if that had been a white woman, if it had been some podunk white woman standing over there, they would have seen her as someone who needed to be protected and clothed. They would not have had her standing naked in handcuffs for that extended period of time. And that's what frustrates me about Lightfoot's performance at this podium. It's like she pretends. She'll say, I understand that there's this whole history of police abuse in Black communities and that it's been happening for decades, right? But then in the very next breath, you'll say, well, I don't want to punish anybody unless they do it again, as if this is a new situation.
Like it's the first time, right?
Or it's a new problem that has come up. And so she was specifically asked, are any police officers going to be punished for this? And have any police officers been punished for this over the course of this, over a year since this incident occurred? And her answer is, well, COPA has to do their work. And COPA really, it's really COPA's fault that they haven't come forward. Now, for those who don't know, COPA is, Citizens of Police Accountability, something like that. Basically, it's the government office that is responsible for investigating these cases of police misconduct that directly relates to, the general citizens, general population. They're supposed to investigate these situations and then come back with a recommendation to the mayor's office about this is what should be done based upon the facts of what's happened. The problem with what Lightfoot has said is the COPA investigation was delayed for 9 months after this occurred. Like they didn't even do anything with this or investigate it for 9 months. And then on top of that 9 months, you have however much time it's taking up until now, and there still is not any sort of recommendation or verification of what's been going on. And all those cops, I guarantee you, are on the force, living their lives. It's all good. Nobody has faced accountability for this issue. And so I find the idea that nobody from City Hall is going to be punished and that all the blame needs to go over to COPA for why the police have not been held accountable in any way. It's beyond the pale. Either you knew about it and you are the problem, or you were not informed and there are multiple people on your team whose heads need to roll.
There's a bigger problem here. and it was alluded to, like it was a very small mention during the election this past time around. It was mentioned, it was very tiny. It was almost like a blurb. It was a little talk about how easy it is for a judge to sign a warrant without asking any questions or without caring about anything. And it was such a small blurb that hardly anybody paid attention. And I'm willing to bet, if I were to look back on it, most all the judges were reelected all over again in this past election. I'm willing to bet that's probably what happened, right? Now it's time that we really need to take a sit down and because here's the honest truth of it. If the judge ain't gonna look at it, the people under there, the people all through that process is not going to do what they need to do to make sure it's correct. I mean, that's the reason there's supervisors and managers at jobs. If you don't have them, the people that's doing the everyday work is just going to get into a mode of relaxation, and they're not going to always follow through. And that's in most situations. So if the judge is not looking, not asking the right questions, not following up on these warrants that go wrong, there's a key right there. Is the judge following up on this warrant? After it went south, did the judge say, hey, I signed that thing? Did you give me false information or what? Why is I'm hearing a woman was just standing there naked for 25 minutes? Y'all found nothing. Seemingly you're at the wrong place. Why did you bring that to me to sign? And why is my name on this now? And so that right there needs to be a bigger issue at the time of election. And those judges need to go. They're signing these warrants.
I think I absolutely agree with you. And I think part of the problem is that when you look at the reporting on situations like this, the judge's name never comes up. Like, I don't think the judge who signed off on Breonna Taylor's warrant, I don't think I've heard his name before. And the judge who signed off on this warrant, I certainly haven't heard his name. I've read the Chicago Sun-Times and multiple other publications that have talked about this story. None of them have said, hey, here's the judge who signed off on the police being able to do this. And I guarantee you, if judges felt like their name was going to be in the papers, if they sign off on a warrant that for an arrest that ended up being botched, guarantee you it'd be a whole different ball game. Whole different ball game. But even if the warrant was good, even if there was a guy in there who they needed to get, even if the raid needed to happen, that doesn't change. Like, let's say there's a guy there and his mom is with him. They bust in the door, they throw that guy down, they put handcuffs on him. Why does his mama need to stand naked for 20 minutes after you've taken care of this and secured the house? Like, it doesn't make sense. So like it goes beyond that to the point of the police know they won't be punished. They know nothing is going to happen. And Lightfoot was supposed to be the mayor that was going to change that. And what terrifies a lot of people is that it seems like she's not only is she not that person, but she could very possibly basically be Rahm in black skin, which would be incredibly crushing and heartbreaking.
Well, accountability is a very slippery slope. So when you don't hold them accountable here, I mean, who are you to hold them accountable there and there and there? So when you just letting this slide and that slide, now all of a sudden they're probably in your office saying, yeah, we probably could have put some clothes on her. But to a bunch of men, it's no big deal.
Right.
A bunch of men, it's no big deal. And let's be honest about who Lori Lightfoot is, right? We have all seen photographs of her oogling while she's on a national stage, while she's on the news, on a photo that's getting put everywhere.
You say she's just one of the boys.
Exactly. She is objectifying women just like a typical man would do. And she doesn't find it a big deal either. So for her, it's not the same thought. And you know what, honestly, it never will be for a person who feels like that they're never going to be in the situation. You know, that person, that prison guard who is standing there and tells you to get naked so he could check you for contraband or weapons or anything else when you're going on intake. You know, he never thinks that he's going to be on the other side of that line.
Right.
And so it becomes not a big deal to him. You're a little less than human in his eyes, and that's how he gets by. That's how he gets over. He doesn't look at you as human, so it's not a big deal for him. And that's how they do. They never think they're going to be on that other side, and so they don't care. They don't care. It's no big deal, right? Well, you were just naked. That's it. You know, you weren't hurt, right? You know. Because psychological pain don't mean nothing, right?
Absolutely not.
Let me shut up about it, because you know.
I was looking on Twitter at some of the comments about this. Jason Johnson, who's a MSNBC correspondent, put out this article talking. How did he put it? He was like, there hasn't been enough said about how across the country during these protests and during these Black Lives Matter attempts at trying to hold the police accountable, Black politicians have been a major force at working against them on behalf of the police and protecting the police when they are harming the community, time and time and time again. And someone else also used that opportunity to bring back up the articles that came out when Mike Bloomberg announced his run for presidency, and all those Black politicians who came out in support of this man who basically instituted stop and frisk in New York City. And they're like, these people, they have your skin, but they don't give a fuck about you. They don't care about you at all. Stop supporting these people just because they have the same skin as you. It doesn't mean they have your best interest at heart at all. And I'm afraid that that's the situation we're in with Lightfoot. I don't feel like, you know, there are some people who feel like that's a done deal. Jameel Green is going off about her, going off. He's made it clear, I am absolutely done. I'm not done. I think there's an opportunity for her to show that she is going to be the reformer that we expected of her. But without a shadow of a doubt, this has damaged her. This has damaged her and the confidence that the Black community has in her in a very, very real way. And I don't know if she's going to be able to regain that confidence in time to be able to seek reelection. So,
with regards to Lightfoot and you know, whether there's hope, with J-Mal Green, he was a big fan of Periwinkle, if I recall. He never endorsed Lightfoot, but in seeing her handling of all the demonstrations, all the things that happened in the wake of George Floyd, the thing with the Christopher Columbus statue, and everything that she's done with regards to law enforcement, even her pick for the new police chief, I don't see it. It looks like same old with her when it comes to that. And I don't see her having any real, imagination when it comes to how to approach issues with law enforcement. I just don't see it. Unless she changed from day one when she took office and the powers that be let her know you work for us now. So she's just went there. But, she hasn't shown any compassion to me as a Black person. She hasn't shown any compassion to me as a woman, especially in this case. She has shown no compassion. And I don't see it. I don't see it. Maybe in some other aspects, she's got some good things cooking, but I don't see anything with regards to law enforcement that she can do for us that's going to be good. I don't see it.
We'll see, brother. We'll see. It's disappointing and unfortunate. I voted for Lightfoot, so I'm hoping she's going to turn it around.